Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. May the all-pervading spirit protect us. May the all-pervading spirit nourish us. May we work together with great energy. May our study be fruitful. May love and harmony dwell amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. Good morning and namaste. So today is the third and final session of our retreat on Narada Bhakti Sutra. One thing, one uniqueness about the Indian spiritual texts is the culmination comes at the very beginning. The highest ideal is given at the very beginning. In what we would expect in a novel, in a story, that it slowly builds up and then culminates into the climax. Here, take any book, Bhagavad Gita, the highest principle that we are nothing other than spirit. We are divinity itself. That message is given at the very beginning. Then, when the student keeps on asking questions, that is broken down. And methods to achieve that higher state is given subsequently. Similarly, in Narada Bhakti Sutra, Narada spoke the highest goal of path of bhakti, path of devotion at the very beginning. He said about, first he did not explicitly say that, but it implies that there are two types of bhakti, right? Can you recall any of the guys here? Two types of bhakti, right? Yes, Kunal.
Parabhakti and aparabhakti.
Right, parabhakti and aparabhakti. So what is parabhakti?
Ecstatic love.
Ecstatic love.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous love. When we have reached the goal, that is the end. We have spontaneous love for God. Now we are trying to cultivate love. We have some amount of devotion, belief, faith in existence of God, and we are trying to cultivate that, trying to practice that. That is called apara bhakti. Bhakti as a path, bhakti as goal, bhakti as path. Then Narada defines parabhakti. He says, in fact, it is ineffable, cannot be expressed in words. It can only be experienced. It is very subtle, subtle in the sense it remains at the back of your mind all the time, this love, divine love. Then it is always fresh, pratikshana vardhamanam, anubhava rupam. It can be experienced, and when we experience it, there is no doubt about this love, presence of this love. And it is parama prema rupa. It is of the nature of supreme love. Supreme means both in degree and also in kind. We love each other, right? Your mom loves you, but love for God is a lot more than any kind of love we know. When that kind of parabhakti, the highest kind of love is in quantity, it appears in degree, it differs from our known loves, and also qualitatively, in kind also. In our known love, there are many conditions to be fulfilled. to get loved or to love. And there are sometimes ups and downs in this love. But if that parabhakti dawns in our heart, there is no end to it. There is no ups and downs in it. So that is how it differs. Then what is the promise of parabhakti? What happens when such a bhakti dawns in our heart? Narada says, to get an idea, imagine a person who is yam labdha puman siddho bhavati. Siddho means has achieved everything. They don't feel that there is any other goal, highest goal as if of their life they have achieved. Then amrito bhavati. Amrito means they discovers an immortal dimension of their personality through that love. They know this body, this mind will not last forever. But there is an essence in me which I have discovered through love, which is going to stay forever. Amrita also means very sweet, nectar-like. Okay, a sweet, they become very sweet, full of love. Also, such a person, matto bhavati, as it were, becomes inebriated, intoxicated with that kind of love. We feel like, is it a crazy person? Example, Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Chaitanya, Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross, Saint Francis of Assisi. People used to feel, they are not like us. They have become mad in the love of God. Sri Ramakrishna says, in this world, everyone is mad. Some is mad after money, some is mad after fame, some is mad after something else. What wrong there is to be mad after God? To be mad after God. It is far better to be mad after God. So they appear like crazy, but we noted a distinction between ordinary crazy person and this kind of crazy person. This kind of crazy person is very attractive. People love to hang out with them. Love to hang out with them. And they take a lot of difficulty to come in contact with them. We read in the life of Sri Ramakrishna. The young college guys, they used to bunk classes. They were used to get scolding from their parents for going to the Kineshwar, but they felt an inexpressible attraction towards Sri Ramakrishna. So that is not an ordinary craziness. And also Narada says they become stabdho, still. It may mean sometimes, as it were, they may look like they have become like statue in that love. The example is, can you remember the example? A bee, when it is drinking honey from flowers, then it is like crazy, it has gone mad with. And then if it has drank too much of honey, it cannot move so much. Stabdho, still. Stabdho, another meaning of stabdho is inner stillness. There is an inner peace, inner stillness in the midst of all the activities. Swamiji says, one who can feel the solitude of forest, solitude of a cave in a marketplace. Okay, that is a karma yogi. So that is one example. Stabdho, inner stillness. Sabdo bhavati, matto bhavi, atmarama bhavati. That is, they are happy without any external support. You need a Lego to be happy with. You need a computer game. You need a mobile phone to be happy with. Such a person does not require anything else. They are happy in themselves. Why? Because they are feeling the presence of God within, in their own heart. And that presence is so blissful that they are Atma Rama. Their all joy is in within. Within, not the person I am, because of presence of God within. Okay. Atma Rama Bhavati. Then Narada says there are examples of such persons. It is not a hypothetical something. There are examples of such person, and such devotees are the chief devotees. They are exemplars of devotion, and they inspire us. Please check. And we noted that in every faith traditions there are examples of such devotees. Just now I named a few: Saint Teresa of Avila, Saint John of the Cross. Then we find Rumi, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Ramakrishna, who had ecstatic love for God, for whom God was not a means, God was end in itself. For all of us, God is a means. We are trying to get something through God. And we should remember, Sri Krishna said there is nothing wrong in that. Okay, nothing wrong. All these are good. But best is one who seeks God only for God's sake. Ekantini. That is only one end. God is the only one. Narada gave the example, Yatha Braja Gopi, the milkmaids of Vrindavan, who had only one passion, love for Sri Krishna. And we also noted that why this love is not a romantic love. It happened, all this transpired when Sri Krishna was 8-year-old. 8-year-old. And gopis, all of them collectively used to feel attraction for a toddler. And it is not an usual attraction where they completely forgot their identity. They were absorbed in the thought of Sri Krishna, no matter what they were doing. So, as an example, Narada said that Asti evam evam. There are examples of such devotees who have tested this kind of ecstatic divine love in their life. Yatha, such as the milkmaids of Vrindavan, Braja. So we learned two things. One is two types of devotion. Devotion, bhakti, divine love as goal, which is called para bhakti, ecstatic love. Then bhakti is also the path when we are trying to cultivating love. Okay, we are trying to practice devotion through different spiritual practices. That is called apara bhakti. Bhakti as the path, bhakti as goal, bhakti as path. And Narada defined what this para bhakti, the supreme love, is. It cannot be expressed in words. It is ineffable. But he gave some pointers that it is supreme in the sense it differs from ordinary love in degree, also in kind. And after having this kind of love, one feels that they have achieved everything. They have become fulfilled. Now, and gave examples. Now, how to practice, how to reach that goal. And Narada said, Prakashate kapi patre. This kind of love is really rare. It is not in everybody's lot to get, to achieve, to reach such paradhat. But then it inspires us. We can go on. It is not a on and off, either or state. There can be progressive, there will be progress, gradual progress to that path of love. So how to cultivate love? Then it brings the idea of apara bhakti, bhakti as practice. And we noted that apara bhakti functions in this way. First, to create a liking for God, a liking. We don't have say liking, then create a liking for God's image, God's name, or any divine idea. Okay. That idea could be that God is everywhere. God need not be in an image only. God is everywhere in nature. So a liking for that kind of idea of God first. Second, transforming that liking into love. Liking to love. Finally, having an intimate relationship with God. That is, I will feel I have a personal relationship with God. And this relationship can manifest in different ways. Some people feel like God is my friend. Some people might feel like God is always present as a witness within me. Some people might feel like me attracted with the idea that God is the master, I am the servant. Okay, we see many. Even God as spouse. In Christianity, there is a philosophy called bridal. What is that called? Bridal theology. Okay, I am a bride of Jesus Christ. Teresa of Avila. Then also Saint John of the Cross probably had that kind of attitude to Jesus Christ. It comes here too, Kanta Sakti, as if God is my spouse. So this is how Aparabhakti functions. First create a liking, transforming that liking to love, finally creating a very intimate personal relationship with God. Now Narada speaks about in this book, Narada Bhakti Sutras, different practices. How to cultivate love. This is the $1 million question. How to cultivate love. So first he said, there are 2 practices which we need, which are negative in the sense, abstain from them. Okay, what is that? Vishaya tyagat, sanga tyagacha. Try to let go of sense objects and hankering for them. Why? We discussed in detail yesterday that too much engagement with sense objects create attachment for them, and also they take our time and energy. Vishaya, Sanskrit word for sense object is Vishaya, and definition of Vishaya is, do you remember? Vishannati, they frustrate us. How? To acquire things is difficult, requires effort. To maintain them requires effort. We know it. Americans know very well. Maintaining things, storing. And also there's pain when we are separate from them, when they are gone. So in every respect, they are painful. So, and also they are taking time and energy. And since time and energy is not infinite in supply, so if we try to cultivate divine love, and if we want to spend quality time, quality spiritual time, quality time in spiritual practices, then we have to free up our energy and time, which we may unnecessarily spend in acquiring things. And also, the more we get engaged with them, the more hankering grows. Okay. An idea is here to have, ideally, more and more samskaras, impression, thoughts related to God. And if we have thoughts about objects, then we cannot have thoughts about God. Okay. At least at the present state, at the beginning state. And as I said, now if I am thinking about ice cream, I cannot think about God. Ice cream is predominant. It is so attractive. But a time will come when the thought of ice cream also may evoke the thought of God. Okay. at the end, as we give examples, that gopis, whatever they thought, that reminded them of Sri Krishna. Somehow they could connect with the thought of Sri Krishna. That is final. But now we have to create. We have to create samskaras, impressions, and thoughts about God. That's why we need to free up our energy and time for spiritual practices. But that is not enough. Having time and energy for spiritual practices, then what to do? Narada advises many things. We shall take up only three things. One is creating love or liking to read or hear the stories of divine incarnation. Okay. Katha Dishu iti Gargaha. A Muni, a sage called Garga, he advised that if you want to love God, try to read more about God. Try to speak about the incidents. They call it Leela, divine pastime, what they did, which are maybe normal activities they did or some sublime activities they did. Read about them, talk about them. What is the psychology behind that? The psychology is this. We like to talk about people whom we like, right? For example, here we love Brandt. We like to always talk about Brandt. Okay, Brandt is doing this, Brandt is doing that, Brandt did that. So the reverse psychology is, since we don't have love for God yet, because God is still an idea for us, so how to create love for God? So read about the incidents, talk about them. In that way, we are, working the reverse psychology. We are creating a liking for God. For example, suppose we are trying to increase our love for Sri Ramakrishna. We have Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, recording of his own conversations. Then an authentic biography about him, Sri Ramakrishna and his divine will. The more we read these stories, these conversations, and the pictures come to our mind, Sri Ramakrishna sitting in the Kineshwar, Sri Ramakrishna is walking to Kali temple, Sri Ramakrishna is walking by Ganga. This creates a love, liking about Sri Ramakrishna. One of our Swamis, who is an American Swami, he says that the only spiritual practice I do is I read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. When I visited him, I saw he reads Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna at least 5 times a day. 5 times a day. Starting from early 4:30. Waking up, he takes up Darjeeling tea and opens up Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Half an hour he reads, and throughout the day, that is his main spiritual practice. He says that people say spirituality means here and now. For me, spirituality is there and then. There means in the Kineshwar, then 1880s. So that is what I love to dwell. I'm always thinking that when the conversation is going on, here is Latu, here is Rakha, here is Mahendranath Gupta, and I am also part of that. Okay, so this is a very potent spiritual practice. Katha Dishu. Katha means pastime. Okay, divine pastime. Whatever they did. And sometimes the beauty of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is there are a lot of examples of humor. Lot of humor, subtle humor. And Sri Ramakrishna used to make fun of people. There was always fun. And I say in bracket, gospel we always find laughing out loud. I say that had gospel been written now, we would have very often encountered LOL. LOL, laughing out loud, literally.
Yeah.
Master Mahashai, Mahendranath Gupta writes, laughing out loud. Everybody laughing. And there are some instances where rolling on the floor laughing. Pontu. I say ROFL, means what we call now ROFL, rolling on the floor laughing. So I also do that. Early morning when I wake up, I take tea and read gospel to find the humor, find the humor hidden in the pages of gospel. And it's such a great exercise, because through these humors, what we are doing, we are thinking about my own Ishta, whom I am trying to love. So this is creating a liking, a love for my God. So that is Katha Dishviti Gargaha. It is very important practice. And that's why when we meet here, we read stories of life, discuss the life. And that way, unconsciously, we are trying to create a liking for God. Then second practice is, which I will take some time to explain, Puja Dishu Anuraga iti Parasharya. One Muni sage called Parashara, he said that to cultivate love for God, one should do puja, ritualistic worship. Okay, puja means worship. It could be ritualistic or not, may not be. But puja is very wide. Suppose you are doing work in your backyard and thinking that this I am offering to Sri Ramakrishna. That is also puja. That is also puja. Or one can do mental worship. There is a lengthy mantra called Manasa Puja. One can do that mentally. That is also worship. But also ritualistic worship. So I would like to spend some time because we see here and in temples, puja is going on. And probably we don't understand what is going on. We think it is just some rituals going on. And that is what I used to think. I also, kind of was not, this is ritual only. But when I tried to understand the philosophy behind puja and the significance of all the steps, I was taken aback. So I would like to share with you what does it mean, what puja really means, so that we can appreciate puja. Okay, what is going on in the puja? I say that puja is like an iceberg. What we are seeing is only 1/10. What is happening actually is remaining hidden from the audience. The most important part of puja takes place between the worshipper and the worshipped without anybody's knowledge. What we see is actually when everything is over. Everything is over, now we are seeing they are offering something and we are thinking that is puja. Okay. Here is Pratyush who loves to do puja. So, Ayush who loves to do puja. So puja, philosophy of puja, okay. So philosophy of puja is very elegantly expressed through a saying which says, do not worship God until you have become God. Worship God only after becoming God. Na adevam devam archayet. Devo bhutva devam yayet. First become God, then only worship God. So puja is a wonderful ritual where non-dualism and dualism merges. Okay. So how does it happen? How? this process happens, how this philosophy unfolds in puja. So any puja, small, big, large, involves 6 steps. You may say, what 6 steps? I see 40, 50 steps. But they all are actually 6 processes. Okay, what are they? First, one, preparation for puja. Preparation for puja means priming the mind. Priming the mind. How do we do that? First, achamana. Take holy water in the mouth. Why? Because now onwards, I am going to recite many mantras through my mouth. Okay, so let my mouth be purified. So it is not that mouth is impure, but I am creating that sense, priming the mind that it is not like any other activity I am doing. Okay, so I am channeling my mind that it is something important I am going to do. Achamana. Then Shasti Vachana. We say words of auspiciousness. Let there be peace everywhere. Let there be peace here. Let there be peace in the worshipper's mind. Okay. Shasti Vachana. Then Sankalpa. That is, I am declaring my resolve. What? That I will try to do this worship to the best of my capacity, best of my attention. So I am declaring it. That is, I am committing. Look, I am trying to do that. Also, that is priming the mind, okay, creating the atmosphere. And then I will do all the worship with the water. So I am invoking the presence of 7 holy rivers of India. Gange cha, Yamune chaiva, Godavari, Saraswati. Let waters from all these 7 holy rivers be present here. Okay. So it is priming the mind. Okay. Preparation is over. Priming the mind is preparation. Second, purification. Purification is creating a sense of the sacred. Creating a sense of the sacred. That is, whatever I will use in the puja, I will try to purify them. Starting from the vessels, the cushion, the flowers, the place, the room, the house, the altar, I am trying to purify them with mantras. The idea behind is everything is already pure because they are all spirit. They are all spirit. Brahman is the substance, but I am seeing them as name and form. Okay, so this process of purification, I am reminding that they are all spirit. They are all spirit. Let me remember that. With the spirit, I will worship the spirit. Another name of puja is worship of the spirit by the spirit. Swami Ashwakananda gave a talk, worship of the spirit by the spirit, which also means become God, then worship God. Worship of the spirit by the spirit. So I am doing purifications, right? Sthana Suddhi, purification of the place. Asana Suddhi, purification of the cushion. Then Pushpa Suddhi, Sthana Suddhi, all. That is, I am trying to create a sense of the sacred. Because puja has these 3 elements, a sense of sacred, a sense of reverence, a sense of offering. Sacred, reverence, offering. I am trying to create that. Okay, that is why it is a spiritual practice. It is not natural to me, but I am trying to create. So I am trying to purify everything, creating a sense of the sacred. Third is the most important part, divinization of the worshipper. This is how worshipper is elevating themselves to the level of spirit. Okay, becoming one with God. Becoming one with God. How do they do that? First, the worshipper does pranayama. Okay, pranayama. And the idea is I am purifying my subtle body, which is created by 5 subtle elements: air, ether, water, space, fire. And I am trying to purify first my subtle body, okay, with pranayama. Then Bhuta Shuddhi. It's a meditation where the worshipper meditates that the Kundalini power, which is rising through the channels and getting merged into the top chakra, Sahasrara, becoming one with Paramatma. And when it is rising, it is burning all the impurities of my subtle body and physical body. Not only that, the worshipper is supposed to think, I don't have any physical body and subtle body now. It has all been, as it were, burnt up by the fire of Kundalini. Kula Kundalini. Okay. So I have burnt my subtle body and physical body. Then, again, the process, lengthy process of Nyasa. Nyasa means consecration. Now what I will do, I will try to place the limbs of the deity I am going to worship in my own limbs. Ram Vidayaya Namaha. That is, here is now Sri Ram Krishna's heart. Rim Shirase Saha. Now it is Sri Ram Krishna's head. Rum Kavachaya Hum. These are the now shoulders of Sri Ram Krishna. If I am worshipping Sri Ram Krishna, it's true for every deity. So what I am doing is imposing the body of the deity here in my own body. Nyasa. Okay. Then all the nyasas are done. Now this is not only inside but also outside. This physical body too is what? The deity whom I am going to worship. Then Dhyana mantra. The worshipper meditates the presence of the deity in the heart. Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpam. In my heart is sitting Sri Ram Krishna, luminous form of Sri Ram Krishna. Okay, meditates in the so heart. Sri Ram Krishna in heart. Sri Ram Krishna is also here. Sri Ram Krishna is doing worship of Sri Ram Krishna. Okay, and then the wonderful, exalted Manasupuja, mental worship. Ritpadmam asanam dadvat sahasraro chutamrite padam charanayo dadvat manastu argham nivedaya. Lengthy worship is so good. And here the worshipper is doing the worship mentally. Everything they are worshipping, offering to deity mentally. So what are the flowers? For example, as flowers, I am offering all the chakras which are like flowers. Okay. And my mind, flickering mind, is just like, as it were, I am dancing in front of you.
Say that again, please.
Okay, my mind is flickering, my mind is, not still.
Going all over.
So accept it as it were, I am dancing in front of you. Okay, such lofty ideals. And finally, 5 flowers. Ahimsa Paramam Pushpam. I am offering non-violence as a flower. Pushpam Indriyo Nigraha. The sense control, discipline, take it as a flower. Pushpam Indriyo Nigraha. Daya Pushpam. Accept the flower of compassion. Shama Pushpam. Forbearance. Forbearance. Take that as a worship. Then Jnana Pushpam, the flower of knowledge. These 5 flowers I am offering to you. So that is a very high state. That is, the worshipper elevated themselves to the level of God, become one with God, and then what happened, worship happened all in subtly, not through any physical object. Okay, so at that time, if we look at read Sri Ramakrishna's life, Sri Ramakrishna used to go into samadhi at Manasa Puja level. Sometimes he could not do the external worship because if done correctly, that is the highest. We have become one with God. Okay. Now, yes, go ahead.
The 5 flowers, please.
Yeah.
What are their
Ahimsa,
Ahimsa, non-violence,
Indriya Nigraha,
control of the senses,
Daya,
kindness,
kindness, compassion, Shama,
Shama,
forbearance or forgiveness,
forgiveness.
and Jnana, Jnanam,
Oh,
knowledge.
These are the 5 plus I'm offering.
So then this was the third. Okay, now what? It was supposed to be a merging, becoming one with God. Now what the worshipper does? Worshipper now will separate themselves from the deity and do external worship. Because worship is a dualistic thing. If I am one, how can I do? So I have to offer something, means I have to separate now. How do they do that? Abahana. Abahana. That is, invite the guest. Invite the guest. How did you do that? Till now, God was here, God was in heart. Now, worshipper, with the help of a flower, brings the God from heart to this flower, as it were, through breath. They are thinking, God who was sitting in my heart, now is coming out and sitting on this flower. And that flower, they put on the image of the deity. And then invite the deity as a dear guest. Sri Ramakrishna Deva, Yahagacha, come here, come here. Yohotishta, Yohotishta. Please sit here, please sit here. Okay, then Sannidhehi, Sanniruddhasya, and please accept my worship. Abahana. Okay, welcoming the guest. Welcoming the guest. Then, fifth is Upachara, offering. Okay, that is treating the guest. Treating the guest. And since it evolved in Indian context, how to treat the guest? It has Indian context. Summer, so first offer water. And the guest has come walking through the dusty path. First offer water to wash your feet. Nowadays we don't welcome guests that way. How do we do it? Offer the Wi-Fi password. So at that time, first now before how to welcome the guest, before asking for tea and coffee, offer them the Wi-Fi password. Okay. So here, first offer the water to wash your feet, then water to drink, then water to take shower, then what? Offer a towel that you have taken shower, now wipe yourself off. Then sit, sandal paste, flour, food, even betel roll. That is mouth freshener. Again water. So this upachara would be short or lengthy, depending upon if you have the materials, you have time. So it could be pancha upachara. I am offering only 5 things. I am offering 10 things. I am offering 16 things. I can offer up to 64 things. 64. Okay. So it does not matter. Matter is the attitude. The attitude is now not a reverence. It is loving treatment of the guest. Okay. And that is what we see when worship is going on. Oh, offering flower, offering things. But it is happening after a lot has happened. Okay, offering is done. So guest is happy. Now time to say goodbye. Okay, goodbye. How do we do that? We do a simple arati, light, okay. But this is the symbol of spirit, knowledge. I am showing the divine, then I am offering. What I am offering? What I have done now. Whatever worship I have done, I am now offering it to you. So I don't know whether I could do it properly as I am supposed to do, but whatever I have done, accept it. I don't know how it went. At the beginning, I proclaimed I will do to the best of my capacity, but I know also my limitations. So I don't know. Whatever I have done, I take no credit in it. Okay, accept it, whatever I have done, and that is the end. Okay, so every puja is a 6-step process. First, priming the mind, preparation, priming the mind. So I arrange everything, then I sat down, but how to focus what I am going to do, priming the mind, preparation. Second, purifications, creating a sense of the sacred. The things I am offering, I am thinking they are pure, purified things, creating a sense of the sacred. Third, divinization of the worshipper, becoming one with God mentally. Fourth, avahan, now becoming separate from the deity and calling the deity out from heart to outside. Avahana, sit here. And then offering, treating the guest, and finally say goodbye to guest. If it can be done, it's a wonderful spiritual practice. It can be short. Maybe I am skipping all the few things, but I can do mental worship. Okay, I don't need anything. I have to chant the mental worship mantra and think this is going on. That I can do. Wonderful spiritual practice. So I have seen the greatest non-dual monk of our order, also the best pujari of our order. In Belur Math, if you go and ask who is the most non-dualist monk, they will show a monk. We think he's top. He's in scholarship as well as in his life. He is the most non-dualist monk. And who is the most dualist monk? They will say he. So puja can be indeed a wonderful spiritual practice. We think it is a ritual, it's a dualism, and what is in there, but the philosophy is exalted, no? Very lofty. So puja dishu anuragaha iti parashaya. If through puja we can create a liking for puja, it will take us to that parabhakti. And we see in the, for example, Shankaracharya is such a non-dualist. He was very much into puja. He formalized puja. What we do now, many part of that was formalized by Acharya Shankara. In fact, one of the Shankaracharyas, the present Shankaracharyas, Kanchi Math, he was very much into puja. He used to love puja. Someone asked that, you are such a non-dualist. Why do you do so much of puja? He said, what else should I do? What else should I do? Not adoring the all-pervading spirit. That is what I am doing. So puja, that is important. But Narada says, okay, these are all good, all practices. You hear and listen to the pastime, stories, katha. You sing God's name, Savana Guna Kirtana. You do puja, all right. But the most important practice, to cultivate bhakti is mukkhata tu mahat kripaya eva bhagavat kripa lesharupa. mainly, chiefly, bhakti flourishes in heart by the grace of the illumined ones, or a bit of divine grace. Okay, this is something to be understood. That all the other practices, what we are speaking of, is requiring self-effort. Mahat Kripa, Mahat means one who is spiritually advanced. It's good if they are illumined, but it will be fine if they are spiritually advanced than me. Their grace, that is their association with them. Association with them. Because in that way, we progress in the path of bhakti without our knowledge. Without our knowledge. It is just like, a difficult hike. We see we cannot take it. An expert guide comes, keeps us engaged in conversation, and slowly, by our hands, they are taking the hike. We have forgotten that we are totally oblivious. We are taking the hike. Suddenly we realize where we have come. The landscape has changed. That is what Mahat Kripa. The Mahat Kripa operates in different ways. One is, that face-to-face contact with such people, or through their writings, such illumined people's writing, we read their books, or even it may happen in dreams. It may happen in dreams. There are many examples. Swami Ashokkananda, he was spiritually initiated by Swami Vivekananda. And it was a profound experience, so much so, it changed his life. And then he confirmed with other senior Swamis of Ramakrishna order. They said, no, it was true, what you got. Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda is your guru, and you got the right mantra. Okay, it may happen in dream. The spiritually advanced people can change the course of our life in different ways, sometimes by a glance, sometimes by a touch. We see, Sri Ramakrishna touched Swami Vivekananda, who was at first scoffing at the idea that God is everywhere. What? This pot is God. This glass is God. What rubbish. And Sri Ramakrishna touches Swami Vivekananda. Suddenly profound change happens within. Swami Vivekananda experiences presence of God everywhere. Through a touch, through a glance. Yesterday someone was talking to me. He met someone. For the next 7 days, he felt an indescribable peace in his heart after meeting someone. This is how they inspire us. Mahat Kripa. Usually, this is what happens. I think in this way, we are, going on in our life in an orbit, and to change the orbit, we need a push. Someone needs to give us push to change the orbit we are revolving around. That is Mahat Kripa. And that happens accidentally sometimes, unexpectedly. It is called grace, Kripa, in the sense when we look back, we find that we did not do anything to earn this favor. It happened spontaneously as it were. Okay, someone we met, fortunately, somewhere, casually, and it changed our life. Mahat Kripa. So Narada says, okay, all the practices are good, but most important thing is Mahat Kripa. Coming in contact with someone who is spiritually more advanced than me. Why? We may think that we only need the association with only an illumined people, but it may not be so. Okay, suppose I want a teacher for physics for my kid who is in 5th grade. I always don't need a PhD holder in physics. Okay, someone who is graduate in physics, who has studied physics of fifth grade, they may also do very well. Okay, so anyone who is advanced than us, and how to realize, how to understand that it is a mahat, it is a holy company, that the company association elevates us. After meeting that person, if we judge our mental level, we find that we have become elevated after the association. That is the judge for holy company, not external anything. But anyone's company which elevates you, you feel that there are a lot more potential within you, or spirituality is possible for you. Okay, then that's a holy company. The idea is elevation. We understand what elevation is, we may not express it, but if we say it this way, that the level, spiritual level we are in, and we are, after meeting that person, we feel that we have gone up. Spirituality is possible for me. Such an association is holy company. Okay, and most of us need that. Very rare person, for Narada says, Bhagavat Kripa Leshadva. Some people may not need such company, but they received divine grace, grace from God itself. That is, they had some experience in the early of their life, very early on in their life, which propelled them in that path. But these people are very, very rare. For most of us, what happens, we come in contact with some person. First of all, we are not into spirituality, but we like the person or the person's unselfishness, the unselfish way the person loved us. Okay, then we got interested into what the person was into. It's not that the person's spiritual achievement first attracted us. First, we are attracted by the person. Many other aspects of the person, which may not be spiritual per se. What happens, for example, for many of the monks, they are hooked by the unselfish love by other monks. At first, they did not care about religion, where they belong to, whom do they worship, who is Sri Ramakrishna, what is monasticism, they don't care about. But one thing they cannot deny, coming in contact with such elevated people, that they can love so unselfishly. Not only that, that unselfish love changes us and we feel attraction, a different type of attraction to these people. So that's why we say many of us became monks by unselfish love of other monks. Later on, we got interested into spirituality. For example, for myself, I came in contact with some wonderful monks. Then I thought, what is in them that makes them so unselfish? Or what is in them that they can be happy without anything? So what are they pursuing which makes them happy all the time without any so-called material things, possessions? Then I got interested into spirituality. Okay, so this is how Mahat Sangha works. We are attracted by the person, personality, their love, their faith in us. They believe more on us than we believe in ourselves. These things attract us to their way of life, spirituality. So Narada says, Mukhatatu Mahat Kripaya. Mainly, bhakti flourishes in our heart through the grace of such people. And Narada says, Mahat Sangatu, but such company is durlabha, difficult. Agamya. Agamya means incomprehensible. Amogha, but infallible. Durlabha means why? Durlabha, difficult. First of all, we may not recognize who is holy. Okay. Even if we know that there is a holy person, there may be physical distance, I cannot access. Then another thing is, there is a really holy person here, but I am not receptive enough to their ideas, their influence. It happened. Many people came to Sri Ramakrishna, not that everybody changed. Those who are receptive. So one has to be receptive also in holy company. That's why we may not get benefited from holy company. We need to be have some degree of receptivity. That is why Durlabha. Sometimes holy people, they themselves may not like to share. There are many holy people who avoid people's company. They want to be alone. Okay. So Durlabha, inaccessible. But an agam, how association with them changes, we don't understand. Okay, it is very subtly they influence ourselves. In fact, it is not so difficult thing. Influence is a great thing. Association influences us. You just keep an association with stockbrokers. After 6 months, you will be unknowingly interested into stock market. So influence is always there. Okay. So holy company also influences very subtly and amogha. If that happens, its effect infallible. After a long time, we will find that how our life got changed. At that time, we did not understand, but our life it will have its effect for sure. If I come in contact with holy company and I am receptive enough. Okay. Now the question is what to do if we don't have such holy company. Then the alternative is satsanga. That is coming together. People who have same type of spiritual objectives. Okay. Congenial. So come together, read something, discuss about some things so that, and whether it is happening right or not, what kind of discussions we are having. Okay. After this meeting, whether we are feeling spiritually elevated or not, that is the taste of satsang. That is the taste of satsang. After the satsang, if we judge, when I was entering the satsang and when I going out, what are the two levels of the mind? Two levels of the mind in terms of spirituality. If it has not changed, it was not a satsang. Okay. If I am not carrying one holy idea or any lofty idea after the satsang, it is not satsang. So that we have to be careful about. So alternative of Mahatsanga is satsang. Okay. And Narada says, Labdhate api tat kripaya eva. This holy company is also can be had by the grace of God alone. Why? Because, as I said, when we look back in everyone's life, all of us have come in contact with holy company, otherwise probably would not have come to the spiritual path. If we look back, we will find that it was something that happened. We did not earn, it just happened. So it is divine grace is that work through divine grace. How to recognize that? By divine grace alone, I got a holy company. Okay, by God's grace alone that we come in contact with holy company. Tadeva sadhyata, tadeva sadhyatam. So Narada says, by any means, try to get holy company. A few days ago, I read Yoga Vasishta, a very authentic or popular book on non-dualism. Highest non-dualism, which is spoken of in Manduka Karika, Ajatavad, creation was not ever happened. There, Vasishta says, Rama, that there are 4 spiritual practices which can make you free. One is shama, control of your mind. Second is viveka, discernment, inquiry into the nature of reality. Third is santosha, being content. Fourth is sadhu sangha, satsanga, holy company. And he says, if there is only one thing you can do, try to do this. No matter how costly it is, how difficult it is, try to get holy company, because that is the springboard of all the other virtues. Springboard of all our. So not only in the devotional life, also in non-dualistic path, even Shankaracharya, we may think that, well, this is non-dualistic path. I know I have to do Shravana, Marana, Nidhyasana, all about self-effort. And Shankaracharya says, Bhaja Govindam, Shanamapi, Sajjana, Sangha Atireka, Bhavati Bhavarnava, Taraninoga. Even a moment of association with such a holy person can become the boat to cross over. A boat to cross over. Okay, so it is needed. So it cannot be emphasized enough. If we forget everything about the three, what we learned in these 3 days about Narada Bhakti Sutra, one thing we should remember, the value of holy company. We should try to get it by any means. And we should be also careful about whether it is holy company or not, whether it is really elevating ourselves or not. And also how we can create a holy atmosphere, satsang, by which our mind gets elevated with spiritual ideas. So that is the most important thing. That one most important takeaway from Narada Bhakti Sutra, that if we want to have love for God, increase that love for God, cultivate that love for God, the most important thing is satsang and holy company. Let's do that. Okay. I think we can stop here, right? I will summarize what we learned in 3 days. So we started out with Narada Bhakti Sutra, which is a small book containing 84 aphorisms on bhakti. It gives a roadmap of the path of bhakti, bhakti yoga, and very precise and sutras, aphorisms, small pithy statements given. It let us know the science of bhakti. Okay. So if someone has some yearning for God, but wants to increase that yearning for God, this is the book for them. Someone does not have any yearning for God, any love for God, but wants to have that yearning, that love, this book is for them. So Narada first, as it happens in most of the Indic spiritual texts, spoke about the highest at the very beginning. This is the highest bhakti, para bhakti. After having which, you will feel like you are fulfilled. You don't require anything else. You feel like you are complete. Okay, para bhakti. And it is possible, there are people, although rare, in whose heart this kind of devotion flourishes. We too can also practice to, as much as possible, to increase our devotion. And the practices are first, try to let go of unnecessary engagements, unnecessary, don't fall in the trap of consumerism. Don't go for things which we don't need, but the need is created artificially by push notifications, by campaign emails, as it were that is the one thing we need to make us complete. So if we can if we can lead a minimalist life, what will happen? We shall have much more energy and time for quality spiritual practices. What are the practices? One is try to sing, try to read holy books, and try to discuss about the holy lives. Then, if you can do mental worship, this wonderful mental worship. And if you can do offer some flowers, some incense stick, some small things in your shrine, or once in a while, maybe you can do some ritualistic worship, keeping the main ideas, significance of the step in mind. It's a wonderful spiritual practice, and also try to have the company of the holy people, or try to create a satsang among ourselves, where we discuss holy ideas which elevate ourselves. That is the main takeaway of Narada Bhakti Sutras. There are many few more things I wanted to share, but maybe sometime later, but these are the gist. Okay. If you want to ask any question or share similar ideas, please do so.
Protection of puja would be considered in timing or purification?
Which one?
Protection, like
Oh, yeah, it is purification. Dibyo Vidha Nivarana. It is all about the part of purification process. Yes, go ahead.
So, Maharaj, your lectures and the lectures before you came, Ishadhyanananda, which was Advaita. Advaita, seems the common thing is elevation of mind.
Exactly. Advaita and Dvaita appears different when you are speaking. In experience, they are both same. We try to show Atmarama, the concept. Okay, it is a Advaitic concept, Atmarama. That is the promise of bhakti. One becomes absorbed in oneself. Okay, so the same spirit which we are calling Brahman, when we are assuming, giving a form to that, we are calling it Dvaita, which is leading to Advaita ultimately. Okay. Ashokananda was a non-dualist. Someone asked that why Brahman, why this why this concept of God, personal God, if the ultimate reality is Brahman? So Ashokananda used to sometimes answer in very directly and like pointers, shafts of light. Then Ashokananda said, if the infinite reality wants to assume a form, do you have any objection? Can you have any objection? The idea is for our own help, to help us who cannot think of infinite, these forms, divine forms. Okay, our goal is not to. Our ultimate goal is to realize Sri Ramakrishna as spirit, all-pervading spirit, and who is one with us. But we are breaking down first to create a love for Sri Ramakrishna and appreciate Sri Ramakrishna as the manifestation of the spirit. Okay.
and the yoga Vasishta, you mentioned 4 things. I just put it 1 and 4, Shama and the Sadhikanda, what are 2 and 3?
Okay, first one is Shama, second is Viveka, third is Santosha, contentment, fourth is Sadhana.
Maharaj,
Yes,
I have
please.
a question. So you said we should look for Sadhu Sangha, that it's holy company. So how do we do that? Like, how do we approach to people? How do you find that holy company?
Yes, as I said, holy company, first of all, not a monk necessarily, company may not be holy, to be frank. If it elevates your mind, then it is holy. A monk may not be a monk, a simple person, but if that is, first of all, holy company. And go and meet them, spend some time with them, okay? And finally, create a small group where you can discuss, spiritual ideas. That is how the centers come up, satsang comes. Okay. I jokingly say, spelling of satsang is S-A-T-S-A-N-G. They sat, they sang. They sat together, they sang together. Satsang.
So Maharaj, I mean, you have elevated us so positive, but I am going to get the which. So then, if I look at the reverse, that means if elevation of us is the main thing, that means the reverse. That means all the other things, I don't know, the jealousy or the negativity. I mean, they are the only things which drag us down from our divine nature. So it's so every time we are going into that negative thing, if we start thinking that this is going to drag us down, that's like if we are aware that this moment we have started this thing in ourselves, whatever the external circumstances, this negative thought or negative.
Yeah,
if we are aware.
here the idea Sri Ramakrishna also said, forget about that, start working to the positive.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to go to the east, if you want to leave behind west, go walk toward east. Okay. Don't try to confront the negative spiral of minds directly, rather engage in positive things. But Narada is saying that is the best way to do.
Maharaj, in Sutra 67, Ekanti now, here Bhutteshananda is saying 2 points. One is one-pointed devotion. The other one he's trying to expand is love for sake of God rather than. I mean, is that an implied thing or is there any?
No, Ekantika, as I explained, Eko Anta. Only one end. End is God is only one end. God is not a means anymore.
So there is.
Yeah, so one-pointed love, of course, one-pointed, and also loving God for God's sake.
Okay. So one word itself.
Yeah, can be explained, yeah. Yes. Because Anta, the word Anta can have different connotations.
And you can also summarize Narada, the Sutra by the Navada Bhakti, Rama disciples, somebody.
Oh, Rama did it.
So in Ramayana, Panchayatmanas, somebody asks for the Navada Bhakti.
Acha.
So Rama recites it, and in the first he says, Pratma Bhakti Santa Karisamba.
Oh.
In the topmost form is have the Sadhu Sangha.
The company, yes.
As in chapter 12 of Gita, where Arjuna is asking which is personal or impersonal, Krishna says both are fine, but there are difficulties involved.
Yeah, difficulties for people, yeah. Those kleshotodhikarams.
Yeah.
Thakur asked him, do you believe in God with form or without form?
He said, how can it be possible?
It is possible.
That God can be without form and also with form.
It is also interesting. Most establishments like the big temples in India, Badrinath Temple, Kedarnath Temple, Dwarka Temple, they were established by Adi Shankaracharya.
Right.
Because Maharaj, I think it's very difficult to remain in that elevated state. So we need the temples, we need sadhu sangha,
Right.
everything.
Right. These are all
Still it is
these are all the supports. Yeah, all the supports we need. Yeah, all the supports.
monk gave me this analogy. He said,
Mm.
the God exists in that door and that wall also, but you would never remember God by looking at the wall. Like we are not in that elevated state, but if you look at the
Yes,
and
yes.
then your mind becomes like, okay,
Later on, I can
yeah,
also
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that. Yeah, some people, say, does God exist only in temple? Why should I go to temple? So I would say God also exists in temple. If God is everywhere, also exists in temple. So why are you not going in temple?
Temple is more formal.
Yeah, temple is more formal and it reminds us that everybody is doing here this. All right, so I'm skipping the guided meditation today. Okay, we can go to the children's program, huh? Singing, whatever.
Yes, you guys. It's your performance.
Did anybody online have any question? We did not pay attention to them.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Maharaj, what about, the desire for God? Does it ever come in the way of the duties that you have to do in life, like
What,
Swadharma?
explain it further. I could not get it. That is, desire for God is
Like the duties that you have to do on a daily basis, how can you divinize that?
oh yeah. Narada also says about that. I did not have the time to go for it. Um, if you see aphorism 48,
Okay.
okay, so it's your karma phalam tyajati, karmani shanyasvati tato nirtanda bhavati. That is, whatever work you are doing, whatever duties you are doing, can you offer them to God as if these are all these are all offerings, just like flowers, incense sticks. Can the work can be an offering? In practical level, what we learned is, suppose you are starting a work, maybe your office work. At the very beginning, can you think of God? And also, once in a while, can you think of God, that I am offering this work to God? And at the end, can you also imagine that you are offering this work to God? So no matter what duty, sadhanama we are doing, can we offer it, work in a spirit that these are all offerings to God? Okay.
And on a lighter note, is YouTube considered satsang when you hear talks and
Oh yes, YouTube, of course, satsang, of course, of course. If it
when you hear
elevates
the
your
teaching?
mind, yeah. If it elevates your mind, anything is satsang.
Okay, thank you. That really helped.
Yes.
We did a play in class 8 when I was in class 8. We did a small play, Simon, where Narada goes to Bhagavan Vishnu and asks, who's your most, which devotee do you like the most? And because he was thinking he would be the one because he chants his name every time.
Mhm.
And so Bhagavan Vishnu says, there is a farmer there somewhere, and I really like him a lot. And so Narada goes to see that farmer. And that farmer, he would take the name of Lord Vishnu when starting the work and while after ending the work. So 3 times like Vishnu, 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 and after ending, there's Vishnu. So he comes back and says like, this guy just chants your name once and I keep chanting Narayan, Narayan every time. Why don't you like me? Like, why do you like this guy most? And so Bhagavan Vishnu says, take this pot of oil and go to the parikrama of the earth, and but make sure that the oil, that there is no drop of oil that should fall anywhere. that you should have to be very careful. And so Narada goes and very careful and like just make sure that nothing fails, right? And comes back to Bhagavan and asks, and Bhagavan asks, how many times did you chant my name? Right? I was so busy looking at the pot and chant.
Right.
And
Indeed,
so he
indeed.
says, see, you see, that guy is occupied with so many things in the life. If he can chant 3 times to start and 3 times at the end, he's a much higher devotee than
Then yes, indeed. Sri Ramakrishna also used to say that those who are engaged in the world, samsara, but still, if they can think of God even once, they are far better than those who have no responsibility but thinking of. They're supposed to think of God all the time because they have no responsibility. But what about those who are engaged in intense duties, activities, but still, once in a while, they think of God? They are far more superior. Okay.
That's what Krishna says in Gita, right? Everything you do is an offering to God.
Yes. It's one way of doing karma yoga. Okay. Yat karosi, yadasnasi. Okay.